This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. That was me having a little bit of fun jamming in a minor key, or actually several minor keys, because that's what we're talking about today, minor keys. It's Wednesday today, and on Wednesdays at the moment we deal with viewers' questions. And the question under examination today came from a chap called Simon, who sent me this email.
Hi John, with major keys we have well used and thankfully simple chord progressions, 1-4-5 being the most obvious example. But what are the most often used equivalents with minor keys? Furthermore, with harmonic minor keys we have different diatonic chords. How will that affect chord progressions? And lastly, melodic minor. Does this give an enormous amount of freedom in chord choice and progressions? How does it work in practice? I hope you can pick the sense out of this question. Keep up the great work with your YouTube channel, it's much appreciated. Cheers, Simon.
So yes, the whole business of the chords that are available to you in minor keys. I remember an interview with Midge Ure back in the 80s at some point where he said that the reason why so many Ultravox songs were written in minor keys was because you had much more scope and more variety of chords and more things you could do in a minor key, and that there is an element of truth to that, as we shall now discover with this little explanation.
Here is the explanation.
Okay then, let's take a look at some typical minor key chord sequences, the kind of thing that was going on underneath that jam at the start of the video, and more importantly we're going to take a look at what makes these chord sequences tick. Where do they come from? Within a major key, there are three minor modes: the Dorian mode, the Phrygian mode, and the Aeolian mode. We're going to be looking at one of those, the Aeolian mode, because that is generally accepted to be the natural minor key, the relative minor key, if you like. But the other two modes, we're not going to look at those today, because I've done plenty of videos on modes in the past, and I don't want to kind of muddy the waters getting into that. Essentially, in terms of minor keys then, we've got three types that are commonly used. If we just take a look at them here, we've got the natural minor key, the harmonic minor key, and the melodic minor key. And you can see there the scales that give rise to those keys, the spacing of the notes in terms of semitones between the notes and the chords in each scale or key, and the chords which are in those keys. So we've got the A natural minor key, or the Aeolian mode as it's sometimes called, which has the chords of A minor, B minor 7 flat 5, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, and then back to A minor again. We've got the harmonic minor key and scale, which has the chords of A minor, B minor 7 flat 5, C augmented, D minor, E major or E7, F major, the G sharp diminished 7th, and then back to A minor again. And then we've got what is essentially what referred to as the ascending form of the melodic minor scale, and that generates the key of A melodic minor in this case, which gives us A minor, B minor. Once again, we get the C augmented, D major, or you could have a D7 there, E7, F sharp minor 7 flat 5, G sharp minor 7 flat 5, and back to A minor again. And we'll discuss the some of the kind of fancier chords in that chord sequence in those keys as we go along. Let's take a look at the chord sequence that I was jamming over at the top of the video. There it is. It's got elements of all of those different keys in there. So, and what I've tried to do here is basically build a bigger chord sequence out of several little kind of almost chord sequence cliches that routinely get used. The first of which is the first 4 bars in the first line, where we've got the A minor going to F, going to C, going to G. A big hit that springs to mind that uses that chord sequence would be Eagle Eye Cherry, Save Tonight. That kind of thing. Many other songs are based around that as well in various keys. I mean, Peace of Mind by Boston springs to mind. The second half of that first line is a well-tried and tested little chord sequence, which goes A minor, G, F, and E7. And basically that entire first line is using chords from the key of A natural minor. The A minor, the F, the C, the G are all coming from A natural minor. The one chord that doesn't is the E7 at the end of that line, which you can think of as coming from the harmonic minor or the melodic minor for that matter. Moving on to the second line, we have again the first 4 bars the same, that Save Tonight, Eagle Eye Cherry, A minor, F, C, G thing. Then we move on to the second half of that second line, where we go A minor to D minor to a B minor 7 flat 5 to E7. Now, I mentioned we'd go through some of these slightly fancier chords. If you are intimidated or kind of anxious at all about playing a chord like B minor 7 flat 5, then don't be. Because all it is a D minor chord where the bass note shifts to a B note. We can see that in, basically where I've lifted this little chord sequence from, the B minor 7 flat 5, there it is, to E7 to A minor. That is part of the chord sequence that underpins the late great Gary Moore's Parisian Walkways. And as you can see, there's a D minor chord. If I want B minor 7 flat 5, all I've got to do is shift this finger up to here to grab a B note, and then re-finger what's going on down here. So essentially, if I just remove that, you can see I'm still playing a D minor chord, albeit with a kind of different fingers, and then this finger comes up to here to play the B note, and we get the B minor 7 flat 5. That's all it is. B minor 7 flat 5 is a D minor chord with a B in the bass. So anytime you want to figure out a minor 7 flat 5 chord, all you got to do is think, well, there's the root, and go 1, 2, 3 frets up and play that minor chord. If you've got a bass player in the band, you don't even have to worry about putting the... well, of course, you will have a bit... What I'm saying is if you're playing with a bass player, then you don't even have to worry about that B bass note. When I was playing that jam there, when I was doing the acoustic part, I just stayed on the D minor and let the bass player, me, bring the bass note down to a B, and the overall sound is of the B minor 7 flat 5. So... chords within chords. I've done videos on that in the past. If you'd like me to do another one, then just shout up and let me know. So that B minor 7 flat 5, let's look again at the end of that second line. B minor 7 flat 5 to E7 is what we call a 2-5 sequence in the key of A harmonic minor. Let's go and have a look at that again. You can see in the key of A harmonic minor, the second chord along, the 2 chord, if you like, is the B minor 7 flat 5. And the 5th chord along, or the 5 chord, is the E7. And that 2 chord going to 5 chord, leading us back to the 1 chord again, is a very, very widely used kind of little cliche almost in major and minor keys. You can do it with the chords in a major key as well, but we're talking about minor keys here. So let's move on. Now, the third line, I do a little bit of a key change. We go to D minor. And what we've got here is a really, really sort of cliched old chestnut of a chord sequence. You know, it's essentially Stairway to Heaven, Hotel California. Many, many songs are based loosely on this. And we're going from the D minor chord to a C sharp augmented to an F chord, second inversion F chord with the C in the bass, to a G major chord with a first inversion with a B in the bass, and a B flat chord, then a first inversion F chord with the A in the bass, then G minor, like that, and then we hit the E7 again, which is kind of changing us back into the key of A minor again. But all of those chords, the D minor, C sharp augmented, F over C, G over B, B flat, F over A to G minor, they all come from a combination of the different minor keys in the key of D minor. So I'm kind of going there between D natural minor, D harmonic minor, D melodic minor, and just kind of weaving a path through them. And you'll notice that what I'm able to do by doing that is have a chromatically descending bass. We've got the D note to the C sharp note, to the C note, to the B note, to the B flat note, to the A note, and then we break the chromatic cycle by going to the G minor. So, you know, you can start to hear all kinds of familiar songs in that. It's, goes all the way back to songs like My Funny Valentine. Then, as I say, that E7 at the end of the third line brings us back into the key of A minor again, where I'm using an A minor and a D major. And if we go back to our keys again, you can see here that the A minor and the D major chords are coming from the melodic minor key. That said, you could also get those chords from an A Dorian mode, which I've covered in the past many times. But in the context of this here, we can see that the A minor chord and the D major chord come from the melodic minor key. So let's go back to the chord sequence. We do the A minor to D, A minor to D thing twice, and then the last 4 bars of that, I'm just kind of filling space to get to the end, really. So I've got the E minor, C major, G to F to E7, which is kind of echoing what happened in the second half of the first line as well. And then that E7, I haven't included it on here, but on the track there's a big 4-bar kind of build up, a crescendo over that chord before we finally finish on the A minor chord. So just another one that's worth mentioning here is just the fact that we've got the E7 chord, which is the 5 chord in the harmonic minor key, going to an A minor. That is, as useful as any of these chord sequences I've been talking about here, where you have the 5, the dominant 7/5 chord going to the one chord of the minor key. So there's a quick little brief explanation. How brief is it? Nearly 12 minutes, so not that brief, but a brief-ish explanation of the way that I would tend to put a minor key chord sequence together. So now you know what's going on. Go away and have some fun with it. And as ever, you'll find a full tab for that solo at the start of the video in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing the solo and a jam track for you to play along with for yourself, along with a couple of other PDFs as well, the two that you saw in that little explanation clip, and you know, all of the chord diagrams and everything. I'm going to put those onto a PDF. So all the chord shapes that you'd need to play the chord sequences that you saw on screen there. All of that stuff is, as usual, up on my Patreon page. You can see the address on screen there, and the link is in the description. $3 or £2.50 a month gets you access to all of these additional resources that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive, massive thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are linked down below in the description. Thank you so much, everyone. But that is pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video, found it useful and informative, and perhaps even entertaining in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like while you're at it? Don't forget, as always, the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time. You know what we do there. We drink beer and we talk about music and guitars and whatever else crops up. What a fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.